People, welcome back to Politics Watch. This is Sir P. Now, today I'm going to do a follow-up on the interview I did with the Mobile scammer. And my subscribers will know in that video it basically go into details as to how the Mobile scammers actually managed to get these people to keep sending money. Right, so I'm not going to go back over that. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to link it at the end. Right, so if you haven't seen that video, check it out after you watch this one. But the follow-up with the Mobile scammer was for two main things. The first one is, the first time I spoke to him, he told me about a very interesting sale that the Mobile scammers did, or a strategy that they used, and he gave an example of one of the time them it was successful, and he basically got into the details as to how they could pull it off and the corruption that's surrounding it. Because when people think about Mobile scamming, them always just think about the ghetto youths them who are doing the scamming. But people don't realize scamming actually much bigger than that. There are a lot of people in high places who facilitated the scamming and profited from it. Right, so I wanted to get some more information on that. So I'm going to tell you the story about this very interesting sale. But there was a second part, people, in the follow-up. See, because after I did the first interview, right, one of my brethren them who reason with very often said to me that, you know, those Mobile scammers, a lot of them, right, the youth named Bebe, right, the sprat that you see on the arse, right, in this picture, he was telling me that he was the one who, obviously people know in that video I said Bebe is the one that really kind of pioneered and pushed the whole scamming, the modern version of scamming. But my brother was telling me that Bebe, one of the conditions to him actually introducing you to the ropes and teaching you the tricks is that he would, let's say, how do I put this nicely? He would have his way with these men, right? So these were so-called straight men who would go to Bebe wanting to learn how to do the scamming, but in return for Bebe teaching them the ropes and showing them how things work, he would have his way with them. Remember, these are so-called straight men, you know. So when I heard this, I said, you know what? The next time I talk to the scammer, I'm going to ask him about this, because remember, he came up under Bebe's wing, right? He was one of Bebe's boy them, and he learned the trade from Bebe. So when I spoke to him again, right, even though this time it was to find out about these big deals and these big scamming deals that the Mobile man them that do, I asked him how it go regarding Bebe having his way with some of these youths when he bust them on scamming. And he said to me, it's true, but him is not one of them, right? Him bring down God off of the cross, that him none of them thing there, and Bebe never touch him up, and Bebe never did nothing to him like that. But then he said, enough other man, Bebe did in fact have his way with them, right? And he said, actually, confirming what my brethren said to me, is that one of the reasons why Bebe actually lost his life is because a couple of 87s, right, who Bebe had his way with, and people, when you hear me say have his way with, you can imagine what I'm talking about, right? A couple of 87s who Bebe have his way with, right? After him done with them and him introduce them to scamming, when him start get rich, then they act like them never want to acknowledge him. So Bebe they start walk and tell people them secrets. And because of course them have a bad man reputation, to protect their bad man reputation, them go dash with Bebe, and that is how Bebe end up losing life, right? So the scammer actually back up the original story what my brethren they tell me, right? So that is indeed what is happening. So enough bad man they selling on Mobile who was scamming and have a much girl and have a much bad man reputation, just know say there's a very high chance say Bebe used to touch them up and do things to them if them come up on the Bebe wing. But this guy who was telling me the story, this scammer, him claim him is not one of them. Do I believe him? Do you believe him? People, I could just leave it at that, because you know them thing they got already. Now, here is the thing, people, regarding the sale. This scammer was telling me that Mobile Man them actually sold Pier 1 to a foreigner. Right? Now, you know Pier 1 in Montego Bay, right? That chill spot, that famous spot. When he first said it to me, I said, you know what? I need a separate interview, a separate sit down, just to hear about this one. He said, the Mobile Man them actually managed to get somebody in America to pay, right, to buy and actually send payment for Pier 1, thinking they were the original owners. Listen to how corruption went deep in Jamaica, people. I said to him, well, that's not how a sale work, right? Nobody knows. You can't just tell somebody, say, you know, sir, we own this, and the person just send payment. Everybody's going to do their due diligence and their checks. Him say yes. Him say Mobile Man them at the time did have links in every sector of society when it comes down to paperwork. Them of them own a corrupt lawyers. They had their own corrupt realtors. Yeah, they had their own corrupt police officers, their own corrupt JPs. Him say everybody who you could go through, right, to verify that this sale is real was in the scammer them pockets. Him say scamming cannot operate without the help of these people. These are the people who sign certain paperworks where the scammer them just can't do upon them own. No matter how much money them have, you need certain people in a certain offices to sign upon a piece of paper. They said this is legit and this is legit. So I said to him, but I did my own local research, and the owner of Pier 1 said nobody never come to him about no sale, right? Because the original story was white man fly down and say him own Pier 1 and him go to the owner and the two owner them clash. So I was showing him the article. There was an article in the Star from the owner, the general manager of Pier 1, saying nobody never come to him. And him say, well, he don't know about that because nobody never, he never hear nobody actually come down for claim it, right? Him say as far as him know, once the sale go through and the money them exchange, that's as far as him know about. Him don't know him to the person after that. But if the person fly down to claim anything, right? Him say that's as much as him know, right? And he's saying that really and truly the way how it could be facilitated was that people in various positions in Mobile, people in very high places, people whose signatures mean something, people whose names and reputations mean something, were signing off on paperwork on behalf of the scammers. When they hear people say things like, so all them could I do this and all them could I do that, you have to understand, remember, you know, even though the hardcore scammers were a bunch of ghetto youths from Flankers and Glendevon and all these places, Salt Spring and these places, understand they can only go so far. How you think they even get to the point where now scammers can have certain accounts, certain proxy accounts in banks where they can get their scamming money sent directly to them? People them have links in the banks them. This is how things work in Jamaica, people. Whenever you hear no kind of big time crime a go on, or no big time scam a go on, even though the people who used to get catch and get their face plastered all over the TV and all over the news, you have to understand that yes, they are the ones who are doing the dirty work, but they have people who are facilitators, people who are enablers, and these people are usually white collar workers, people who dress up every day in a shirt and tie, right, and shiny shoes, right, and are very respectable people in the community. So this is how things like this could happen. And he was telling me that Pier 1 wasn't the only one, right? It's probably the biggest one what happened. But he said they could pull off these things constantly, right, until Jamaica actually, because remember, you know, people, this happened, I think the Pier 1 sale happened in like 2012, you know. Right, he's saying this is before Jamaica developed a reputation as a scamming place. So when you link somebody abroad and you put the offer to them and you put the sale to them, right, you were saying back then people weren't as suspicious because people didn't know Jamaica as a scamming place back then, right? So it just goes to show you the level of ingenuity and connection that some of these scammers had. And of course, this was not the low budget scammers who go in a MoneyGram and then place to go collect money. Remember in my first video I told you those are low level scammers. The real big time money in scamming, the money now go through Western Union and go collect the money. Right? As I said, they were getting their money sent to proxy accounts, right? That were set up for them by their links in the banks them. Right? So even when you read that Pier 1 article, because I know that you're going to go check for the Pier 1, you're going to go Google scammers sell Pier 1. When you do that, you're probably going to find an article from the general manager saying he don't know about that, right? And nobody never come to him. So the scammer that I spoke to, him said him never hear about nobody actually come down for actually collect Pier 1, right? Him said as much as he's aware, him know up until the point where once the money go through, him said that is where the connection with the person abroad done. Him no know what happened to that, right? Afterwards. And he was saying his other scammers in a film crew tell him the story, right? So there's a reason why the general manager would have said nobody never come to him, because, well, somebody literally didn't come, because as soon as the sale go through, who knows what happened after that, right? I guess the person was trying to get back their money and I call people or all kind of things. But people, as I said, some things happening in Montego Bay that come straight from out of Hollywood film. So if you haven't seen the first video of the interview I did with this scammer, please check it out, people. Right? So there you go. Patreon squad, big up on yourself. Please like, comment, and share the video. Bless.